The shadows breathe, my children! Last year, we had a revisit to the original wielder of the crow powers, Eric Draven, in a reimagining of his supernatural revenge. But this time, he stuck around longer. So let's see the final issue of this version of him. With Top Dollar's crew dead, other gang bosses are moving in to start claiming territory, to indulge in their own evil acts. But for the moment, that does not concern Eric Draven. Instead, he is drawn to an old friend of his, Jack, who has unfortunately done much evil himself in the name of love. He confesses it to Eric, his love for a woman that he always knew he was meant to be with, even had a deep relationship with her. But then he fell into hard times and ended up in an institution. After a few months, she hooked up with a serviceman and planned to marry him. But since they were meant to be together, he killed her and planned to kill himself, but unfortunately he was saved before he could finish the job on himself. Now he is paranoid about seeing her fiancé everywhere, and it's clear that Eric has to do something about this. But before he can, he is shot several times by the Native American who had fled Top Dollar during his rampage against his killer. While Jack flees, the man, known as the Hunter, admits that someone has hired him to deal with both Jack and Eric. But he's only after Jack for now. But Eric stops him from completing the goal. While Jack goes on a murderous rampage, still seeing his lover's fiancé everywhere, we meet the woman who hired the Hunter. She goes by Sin, one of the crime bosses moving in, but she's after a particularly lustful goal: sex with the dead. Sin, call me! Sin is frustrated with the Hunter's failure, but since the Hunter isn't frightened of her, she decides to take matters into her own hands, encountering Jack at the bar as he tries to make sense of his life. Later, she drugs and kills him. She admits that she had hoped he might be good for a ride, but now thinks he's better used as bait for her true prey, Eric. Eric ignores the fact that his friend was not exactly a saint, seeming to be more running on fumes now that he's so far removed from his own beloved Shelley. That maybe there's nobody waiting for us but darkness. A loss of faith, perhaps? Or a fear that he is like Jack. Or maybe the book is just a little pretentious. Good prose, though. He confronts Sin, whose fighting back seems more like sex to her. But her fun is interrupted by the police, who arrive to arrest her for Jack's murder thanks to a waitress at the bar IDing her. A crooked cop, the partner of Eric's friend Albrecht, whispers that this will probably slow down her operations for a bit, but then the Hunter decides to deal his own unique justice, shooting her down in the street. Since the book was intended as an ongoing, sadly, none of this is really followed up. Instead, we are brought to a murder mystery. A little girl murdered, stabbed almost 100 times, molested with the same knife, and left to die in a hole in the forest. The scant evidence they have points to Marcus Albrecht, the estranged son of Officer Albrecht. He wants nothing to do with his father due to him leaving him and his mother when he was young. But of course, Albrecht recruits Eric to try to help his son, to either reveal his guilt so that he can try to help him in some way from the gas chamber, or to find the true killer. Eric confronts Marcus, who confesses to many terrible things, that he has indeed had inappropriate relations with girls much younger than him, was tempted to do it with the murder victim when she was literally asking him to, but that he did not, that he walked away, but later returned and saw her mutilated body, leading to some of the evidence that it was him. The Crow tries to show Eric the layers of this whole mess, that Eric's own sense of evil is colored by the limits of his own morality, that evil is a virus that is infecting more and more people. At Marcus's trial, evil infects people as the lawyers accuse Marcus of a crime he did not commit, making people hate him and judge him even with little to no evidence. That, the Crow argues, is Eric's true purpose, to try to fight this evil virus and keep it in check. So what you're saying is that we just need to take some anti-evil Dayquil? Using his tactile psychic powers, Eric uncovers the true murderer, the girl's own mother. She claims the girl had a demon inside her, and she needed to kill it. He tries to use that same power to share with her the pain her daughter felt, but she's already experienced it. Instead, Eric says that she has a demon inside of her as well, and he must kill it before it spreads. And thus Eric stabs her with the same knife she used to kill her daughter. Or does he? The artwork is unclear. She may have killed herself. But the point is that she is dead, and Marcus, unfortunately, is still blamed for her daughter's murder. This is not a book about triumphant heroes, of good people stopping bad ones. It is full of many imperfect people who make decisions. Some easy, some very difficult. Anyway, in the next issue, Eric is still after the people with the virus, but is confronted by the Skull Cowboy. I haven't seen him in a Crow story for a while. Not much to say, sadly, since the comic was cut short before anything more could be done. But the Skull Cowboy suggests that the Crow might be lying to him about the virus, about the terms of his return to life, and then Eric has to deal with the fact that Shelley's remains have been stolen. Her bones were stolen by another crime lord, Mr. Dark, who knows of Eric's powers and has decided to use them for his own purposes. He has given the bones to people whom Mr. Dark wants eliminated, and Eric reluctantly agrees to kill them. The Crow doesn't really care, since these were all people they were going to deal with eventually anyway. Eric claims that he's not playing Mr. Dark's game, yet even the Crow admits that it doesn't matter. An act of evil can produce some good, and an act of good can produce evil. It's just the unfortunate reality of the world. Still, as he's bleeding to death during a police raid, Mr. Dark admits to there still being some of Shelley's remains about. But before Eric can learn where they are, he is shot dead by a police sniper. Still, these events have made Eric realize it's time to come home. He cremates Shelley's remains and spreads them out into the world, saying that he doesn't know if he made the wrong things right, if he changed anything. But he realizes that letting go of her was how he found his way, and he's giving up this mortal coil now to return to her properly. The Image Comics Crow series is a mixed bag, but perhaps even darker than any other incarnation we have seen. Good or bad? Yeah, like the premise itself of someone killing killers to avenge killing, it has a little of both. Ah!